Good morning.
Hello, Keith. Good morning. I'm grabbing a coffee to get my energy up because you said this is going to be an exciting show.
Yeah, you know what? The amazing thing is we have some professional chefs that actually work this market.
Right here in the market?
Right here in the market. And today we're going to use one of those chefs to do a little bit of, well, I won't tell you what the theme is.
Oh, okay.
So let's go for a walk.
You're gonna keep
And
me
then
in
what's going to
suspense.
happen, I'm going to step away and I'm going to let you guys go do some shopping.
Okay.
Three is a crowd. You know, so we'll kind of do
Well,
it
it's
that
just
way.
so busy in the farmer's
Well,
market.
it is,
And you're
and
busy.
yeah. So you guys are going to go do some shopping. So and then we'll cook this afternoon
Okay.
right in the cafe
Cook whatever
here.
amazing meal you haven't told me about yet.
Surprise! It's one of
Okay.
my faves.
Really? All
Yeah.
right.
So
I got
let's
a good
go.
feeling about this.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Okay.
Okay.
Where are we going?
That way.
Okay.
Buenos dias, chef.
How you guys doing?
Buenos. Are we doing Mexican?
Mexican food.
Love it.
It's
I
my
love
fave.
it. We're
It's
spicing
my
things
fave.
up.
Chef John Martin, my good friend Tracy Gray.
Hi, John. Nice
Hi,
to meet
Chris.
you.
Yeah, nice to meet you
Yeah. So chef is one of those guys that's in the market every Saturday, professionally trained chef, does his great sausages, and I thought, why not?
Why not?
Why not?
These look
right?
amazing. Yeah, tell us about El Chorizo.
too. Yeah, so El Chorizo Latino, it was basically born not from a professional chef stance, but more of a traditional kind of foods that I knew when I was growing up. So when I was young, when chorizo were made, they were known as like estilo casero style, where people would use the local homegrown ingredients and put them in their chorizo. So this is something where I wanted to do and go back to my roots, and this is how this was born.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, and this guy always sells out. Like people, people know him in the market, and they come and they specifically look for this. So, chef, what are you going to plan for us this afternoon when we do some cooking?
Sure. Well, what I'd like to do today is I'd like to take off the chef hat and put on the mom hat.
The mom hat.
That's right.
The
Okay.
Mexican
If that
mom
exact-
hat?
The Mexican mom hat, if that were to exist.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, me too, actually. And what I'd like to do, we're just going to demystify Mexican cooking. We're going to do a home style, comfort food style cooking. We're going to make it nice and easy, something that's adaptable. We're going to show people the basis, so that way everybody can come to the market. They can choose what's fresh, what's available at the moment, and always make themselves a great meal.
Perfect.
That all sounds amazing.
What ingredients are you planning to use from your repertoire here?
Well, amazingly enough, we do make a Mexican style chorizo, and that's what we're going to have today.
Funny how that is.
I know.
Oh, I
So
love that.
what we have here, it's a central style Mexican chorizo. When I was young, I grew up in Veracruz for a short while, not in Mexico City, but this is where this comes from. It has a lot of fresh ingredients, and it has a Mexican style adobo, ancho guajillo pasilla chilies. They're dry roasted, turned into a paste. That's what gives this chorizo its color, and that's what gives this chorizo its flavor profile as well.
It looks amazing.
Thanks.
What else do you have here today that you normally sell every day?
Sure,
What
well,
else do you bring in?
Yeah, well, today we also brought an Argentinian style chorizo. My mom is from Argentina.
Okay.
And what I do is every week we look the markets. Most of our ingredients are local, and whatever's fresh makes the basis of the styles of chorizo that we have this week.
Real.
Sometimes we have 3, sometimes we have 4, sometimes we have 10 styles of chorizos, but it all depends on what's available, what's fresh, and what's going to make a good chorizo.
Perfect. So, chef,
awesome.
this morning, I'm going to have you and Tracy. Well, I'm not going to have you. You guys are going to go and pick up all the ingredients for cooking later today.
Okay.
So I will leave you in capable hands. You know the market. Tracy's been here enough. She knows the market.
That's right.
Absolutely.
We'll go get all the ingredients that we need to make this dish.
Yeah, sounds
Yeah.
great.
Okay.
We're excited.
Me too.
And you're a busy
Salivate.
guy.
I'm a busy guy.
You got lots to do.
It's summertime here. The market's getting busier. I've got things to do, so I will leave you two alone.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
we'll see him again in the kitchen later.
Sounds good.
Yes, I'm going to be next to you this afternoon asking all these stupid questions and tasting.
All these
There's no
questions,
stupid questions.
Right?
That's right.
Just
stupid
delicious.
answers.
Yeah. Delicious answers. is
That's
what we
right.
have.
Tasting answers.
Yeah, that's
I love
right.
it.
Tasty answers.
Perfect.
So we've been having fun with our Spanish all morning, and we're going to have a little bit more fun. So for our next meal, the torta,
Tortita?
that's right,
Okay.
which is like I know, it's a Mexican type of sub or sandwich.
Oh, yum.
We're going to use a type of bread. Traditionally, they would use a bolillo
A bolillo?
or a telero.
Filero?
That's right.
I think I got it.
I think you do. Awesome. So right here, we're at Grandma Bear's, and we have a beautiful set of buns right here.
Yeah.
These guys are vegan. They've been around for a while, and they really know their stuff.
They look so fresh.
They are fresh, and everything they do is just bang on.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I love their
yeah.
stuff. So we're going to grab these guys here,
Okay.
and then I think we're going to move on.
Wonderful. Thanks, Grandma Bear.
Thanks, guys. Okay. So Tracy, it's not going to be a real restaurant experience without a drink. So,
Yes, cocktails are not optional.
That's
a
right.
definite.
so we're going to surprise Keith. We're going to do a Mexican style beer cocktail.
Nice.
So what we're going to grab here is an Alberta Rita. So can we grab a pack of those?
See, something
please?
you had trouble pronouncing.
Yeah, no kidding.
This is nice with Blind Man Brewing. Get a local brewer.
They're a local brewer. They taste great. There's lots of samples that you can choose from. So it's one of those situations where you're always going to walk away with a beer
Yeah.
that you're going to know you're happy with. So,
Nice.
and I know we're definitely going to enjoy this.
And I like that it's got Alberta in the name.
Yeah, me too. It's nice. It's colorful. It's cold.
It's cold, yeah.
That's right. It's everything we're looking for.
Okay, and so you're going to make us a special cocktail out of this?
Absolutely.
Oh, I can't
Yeah.
wait. Great.
Yeah, so what we're going to do, it's a michelada. It's going to be our own version. We're calling it the Mayan michelada. It's a simple drink. It's a nice cool down, and I think we're going to enjoy it.
I love that name. I think I know why they call it a michelada, because that's for me.
That's right.
Okay.
Unless I steal some.
Wonderful. All right.
Perfect.
Ready?
Let's go.
Okay. Well, it's very busy at the market.
Yeah, it definitely is.
So you said that you talked to Jen beforehand to grab us a few things?
Absolutely. So we're at Sundog here, and these guys really make a farmer's market for me. This is really what it's about. These guys are local, they're fresh ingredients, it's organic. I spoke to Jenny's husband before, James. I had questions about gardening. This guy knew everything.
Wow.
I didn't talk his head off, but these are people who know the soil, who know what's going on, and it just makes me feel good shopping from these guys.
And you can tell they know how to grow vegetables. Look how beautiful these look.
Yeah, these guys definitely know what they're doing, and there's always different stuff available.
All right.
So a couple of things we talked to Jenny about. We're going to do a quick pickle. So one of these things will involve radishes. We're also going to do a modified escabeche. So we're just going to throw in a couple of carrots, which we didn't really talk about, but we're going to do anyways. A couple of the other ingredients, fresh cilantro. It's a great garnish for a lot of meals. And my favorite part about this is the epazote. Epazote, it's one of these herbs that's ubiquitous in Mexican cooking. It's something where we spoke to Jenny about it, and she just happened to have it. It's not for sale regularly, but it's another thing you can do at a farmer's market. You can create your own products. You can create your own demand. Enough people ask for it, they'll grow it. It's not like a huge farm where what they grow is what you get.
I can smell it from here. That smells fantastic.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, that's nice.
So this is going to go in our salsa roja when we soup it up a little bit, and this will be part of the chilaquiles.
Great. Okay. And then what else do we need?
This is it
That's
from
got it?
here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're good to go. Can we get
good.
that in a bag? Thanks, Jen. Yeah, you can tell that they have good soil. They've got good growing practices. Look at all the colors of the different
Absolutely.
vegetables.
And I know it's not part of our cooking show, but my youngest daughter is addicted to their pickles.
Oh.
And I'll snack on one or two every now and then.
Well, then her and I have a lot in common because
right.
that's one of my favorite things too, is dill pickles. Oh, great. Thank you. Here, you can take the bag on that one.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, then.
Thank
See ya.
you.
Okay,
All right, we'll
let's
head
head out.
So what do we need next?
So we're going to grab an ingredient for our chilaquiles.
Chilaquiles?
Yeah, so chilaquiles, it's the ultimate Mexican comfort food. People often know it as a breakfast food, but honestly, you can have it for breakfast, for brunch, for lunch, for supper, even a late night snack once you've come home. So part of this food, we're going to have a salsa roja, and we're going to soup it up a little bit with a broth. Traditionally, people would just use like a cheap bouillon cube to throw it in there, but we're going to do one better. We have Wishbone Wellness here, and this is Randy, and she's going to tell us about her broth.
Hi, so bone broth. So I have 4 different ones: a chicken, a beef, a bison, and a vegan one. So for bone broth, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but I simmer down the bones, add in veg, any superfoods, strain that, and then you're left with a liquid, which I then freeze. So there's high in fat, high in protein, and then any of the nutrients coming from the vegetables. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
sounds tasty.
And then I see that you've got vegan stock.
Yes.
What about food allergies?
So for food allergies, this one, because it is plant-based, there is no animal products in there. There's kombu kelp. There's no dairy in anything. There's no gluten in anything. No additives or preservatives. It goes right from hot, cools, and then freezes from there. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, goodbye bouillon cubes.
That's right.
For sure. Yeah, and it's beautiful. It's got the nice fat layer on there. It's got a bit of that gelatin jiggle. Yeah, it's
Very
delicious.
cool. And what makes your bone broth different from others?
It depends on the company, I guess. I do use all local pastured bones. So everything from around 2 hours within Edmonton. So I'm supporting local farms. The vegetables are as local as I can get as well. And then it's just made and packaged. There's no additional processing for it. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
That's amazing. Yeah, because if there's one thing you can do to take your cooking up a notch that's completely low effort, it's a good quality broth.
For
That's
sure.
my favorite. You just said my favorite type of cooking.
That's right.
Low
I'll do it
effort
for
and
you.
delicious,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, and then inclusive, you even include the family pet.
Yes, I do have one for pets as well, which is just a beef broth. Yeah, a beef
awesome.
base. Yeah.
Okay. Well, which one are you thinking, Chef?
Well, we're going to look for something that's a little bit Mexican based, and we're going to do something that has maybe a chicken stock kind of feel to it.
Perfect.
So is there anything that you would be able to suggest for us?
Yeah, this one's really nice. This is that classic chicken one, and there's some coconut oil in there as well, so it's got a
Okay.
bit of sweetness, but it's got a really nice fat cap on there.
Okay.
Yeah, so the flavor is all locked in.
And that's
Yeah.
perfect. Exactly what we're
Perfect.
looking for.
Awesome.
And that's our new words of the day, fat cap.
That's
Yeah.
right. Easy, fat cap, low effort.
There we
Delicious.
go.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Perfect. Awesome.
Thanks,
So you'd like to
Randy.
grab a chicken?
Absolutely.
Awesome. I can grab that for you.
And we just need one, or how many?
I guess so, yeah, just one.
Would you like a bag, or are you
I've
okay?
got a bag here.
Perfect.
I
Your
can
market
put that
bag?
in. I do.
There you are.
There we
Thanks
go.
so much,
It's
guys.
frozen.
Yeah,
That's
it is.
heavy.
Yeah, so let it thaw.
Okay.
In the fridge for like a day or two. Give it a good stir, and then just use what you need from there.
All right.
And just one last note, how long does this broth last once it's been defrosted?
It'll last over a week in the fridge. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks so much, guys.
Nice
Thanks.
to meet you, Randy.
Yes, you too. Thank you.
Okay, enjoy your day.
Yeah,
Thanks.
have a good one.
Goodbye.
Bye. So we're going to need some eggs, and this is going to go in 2 recipes. The chilaquiles are going to be done 2 ways.
Yeah.
One with chorizo, one with eggs. And it's also going to be in our Mexican torta. So a torta is like a Mexican sandwich or sub.
Torta.
Yeah, una torta.
Torta.
There you go.
I love it.
Yeah, we're going to put runny eggs in there because this sandwich, it's not about eating nicely. It's all about being messy and enjoying your food.
Great. Well,
So-
Sunworks Farms has eggs here.
Absolutely. So I really like Sunworks. These guys here, they have free range. They're really high quality food item in everything they do. And organic, it is important to me
Yeah.
because it speaks to how they care about the environment, the people around them, and everything like that.
Yeah, well, it says it's free range and then certified organic.
That's
So
right.
it's kind of a nice thing to look for when you're getting eggs.
Absolutely. And free range matters. I mean, I care about how the animals are treated.
Yeah.
I believe it's important. I mean, this is part of our food supply, and it speaks to how we view everyone around us.
And
So-
that's one of the big things I really like about the market is that you can find foods like this.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, lots of people, they care about their foods. You can speak to the vendors. The people you're speaking to do the farming, they know the product. If you ever have questions, There are people there who can answer these things for you. So when I buy eggs, I do a tiny little check. And
Yeah,
we're
what
going to
do
do
you
that
look
now.
for?
So we don't want any cracking. It doesn't happen often. We're just going to give it like a quick little turn. We can already see on the top if somebody's cracked. And if on the bottom something is cracked, the yolk is going to stick to the egg and it's not going to be able to move. And as we can see, these guys are just beautiful.
Those ones look great. Okay.
Perfect.
And that's
So-
enough for our recipe?
This is definitely enough for a recipe.
Okay.
Maybe a couple of extras.
All right, you're looking at the bag. Here we go.
That's right. Help you with that there. There you go.
You're a good egg.
Eggs.
So John, my favorite part about making these recipes with you, I think, is the names of the food, like the chilaquiles. It's just so fun to say.
Well, if you like chilaquiles, I think you're going to like the name of our next recipe.
What is
and
that?
That's chicharrones.
Chicharrones.
That's
Did I
right.
get it?
You did.
Okay.
works.
Chicharrones.
There you go. You
Love
got
it.
the action too.
All right, what
which
do
is
we need
perfect.
to get for chicharrones?
Well, the key ingredient in this one is pork belly. There are a lot of regional variations on how to do this, and we're going to do our version today. So
Right.
we're going to grab pork belly. This is what we're looking for. We're going to slow cook this guy. There are a lot of different versions in all through Latin America, Asia, and yeah.
Oh,
this is
great.
it.
Is there anything in particular that you look for in a pork belly?
You can do it one of two ways. Traditionally, it's done with skin on. That's a little bit more complicated because if you overcook the skin, it can get hard and crispy. If you do the skin right, it's absolutely amazing. But if you don't have the skin, we can make this absolutely beautiful as well. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to keep it simple.
All right. Well, it sounds like we're going to take one of these then.
Perfect.
Great.
Thanks.
Just go ahead and put it in the bag.
Okay, let's put that in
Throw
the
it in the
bag.
magic bag.
Perfect.
Yeah. Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Thanks, guys. So what we're going to do now is we're going to grab a couple of cheeses, and sometimes it's pretty hard to find actual real Mexican cheeses. Oaxaca cheeses, cotija cheeses,
Oaxaca.
Oaxaca,
Good cheeses.
cotija,
Cotica.
close enough.
I'll get it.
99%.
I'll get it. Okay, all right.
Yeah. So
Not a full star like Sylvan Star.
that's right. You're 90% there. You got almost all the points.
All right, well, keep working on it. In the meantime, what kind of cheese do you want to grab for this?
Right. So what we're going to do is we're just going to grab a nice substitute. We're not going to stress about having the perfect cheese. If it tastes like it, it's good enough. And if the food tastes great, that's really all that matters.
Okay.
A lot of times what made Mexican or Chilean or Puerto Rican food authentic is they took the original recipes, they took what was around them, and they used those local recipes. And that's how those local cuisines developed.
So it was a combination of the traditional recipe with what they had available at the time.
Exactly. So what we're going to do for the cotija, we're just going to grab a feta. It's a great substitute. We're going to crumble it up. It has that nice sort of salty taste.
Nice.
And then for a Mexican cheese, we're just going to grab some cheddar. It's easy to shred. It has a very neutral taste, and you can use it in just about everything.
Yeah, when I make Mexican, I use a lot of shredded cheese. That's my favorite.
Right. Yeah, I use a lot of cheese, period, as
Okay.
you can tell.
Okay, well, that looks fantastic. Although we could burn calories by shredding the cheese.
Exactly.
So,
It all works out.
right? Yeah. You can
Sounds
burn off
great.
the calories that way. Okay.
Perfect. Okay, so we'll grab these and off we go.
All right. Do you want to throw them in the bag?
There you go.
Great.
Thanks.
So, John, did we grab everything that we need for your recipes?
We did. So, Tracy, this has been a lot of fun. I enjoyed spending our time.
Aw, it
Thanks.
was fun.
Yeah.
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 But you know what? A really fun part is when we get cooking.
And cocktails.
And I love the way you think.
That's right. Cocktail. Yeah, so I'm just going to finish off the market day here before we head to the kitchen.
Right, yeah. And I'll get all of these ingredients handed off to Keith so he can set us up in the kitchen.
Perfect. And we'll see
Okay.
you guys later then.
We'll get ready for our fiesta.
That's right.
All right. Okay.
See you guys later.
Have fun.
Bye.
So we've had an amazing time shopping at the market. Chef John and I have picked out all these amazing ingredients to put together the Mexican meal that you've got all planned out.
That's right. It's fresh, it's local. It's going to be really easy to make. That's the most important part about this meal, as well as the fact that it was all fresh ingredients.
Yeah, so Keith, I'm going to trade off with you now
Okay.
because I got all the shopping done and we have a special cocktail
So you're
that
gonna get
Chef
the
John wants to
cocktail
make
prepped up.
Yeah, so
That's
I mean,
always Tracy's thing.
that's going to take some
to
prep.
get the
and,
cocktails all prepped.
and so I'm
Terrific.
going to start preparing for that.
Okay.
Try it out, make sure all the levels are balanced and ready to go. So I'm going to go do that while you guys take over.
Take over the kitchen. Perfect.
Okay, so Keith, we had a great day at the market. Now we're just going to talk and go over some of the products that we have and what we're going to be using them for. So we're going to start off over here with our carbs. Now, La Catrina, I happen to know them personally. David and Jocelyn, they're from Mexico. And if you want your Mexican food traditional, this is how you're going to get it. We're going to have some tortillas, and we're actually going to have some nachos as well. This is going to go in our chicharrones, and this here is going to go in our chilaquiles. Of course, our Mexican torta, that's our Mama Bear bread. It's fantastic, and it's actually vegan as well. Now we're moving over here. Duff's Greenhouse gave us our peppers, gave us a lot of stuff. We also got stuff from Gull and from Sundog Organic. Jen and James from Sundog, very knowledgeable. If you're ever in the market and you have any question, these guys have a lot of answers. For example, if you go to Gull's, tomatoes aren't just tomatoes. These Romas here are a lot less juicy, and that's why we specifically chose them for our salsa. You could use a cœur de bœuf, you could use other tomatoes on the vine, which is general tomato. They all have their uses. So one of the things we got at a local Latin market, and that's something I'd like people to do. There's a lot of people feel intimidated by these markets. They go in there, it's just like a farmer's market. Things are new, things are different, things are changing all the time. A lot of chains, if you speak to somebody, they'll look at you like you're crazy.
Yeah. I love going into, Chef, the Asian markets, the Latino markets, the Jamaican markets, the little stores.
Mhm.
You feel like you're on vacation when you go there.
That's
honestly, right?
And people, they're actually really complimented that somebody's going in there that wants to experience their culture. People are proud of where they came from and who they are.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
they feel very included when you come to them, when you ask questions. So one of the biggest questions people always have is, what do you do with these dried chilies? We're going to talk about this a little bit later.
The good and the bad.
The good and the bad.
Yeah.
What to shop for, what to look for, and how to use them. Your salsas will never be the same. So over here we have our meat section, and we have our bone broth. We also have a beautiful pork belly. This is a whole pork belly. Normally you'll see these guys semi-cured and sliced up as bacon. We're going to use this whole guy right here. We're going to make it crispy. Pork belly is something that you see in a lot of different cultures. Momofuku, the Japanese, all they really did with these guys, 1 part salt, 1 part sugar, half a part pepper, let that cure for 12 hours, cooked it at 290 until internal temperature 190. These guys made a whole restaurant out of just doing that alone.
Wow.
It's an easy product to use. It's not something people think about a lot. And if you eat pork, it's definitely something to choose. Of course, one of my personal favorites.
I'm wondering where that's from.
Yeah, that of course comes from me. So these guys here, we make these guys as a traditional Mexican chorizo. We have an adobo. We have fresh ingredients. It's just made the way that people used to make them a long time ago. It'll be in a couple of our meals. In fact, it'll be a little bit in all of our meals. So
Common theme today.
that's right.
Yeah.
So here we have a little bit of cheese. Now, these aren't actually Mexican cheeses. These are substitutions. So it's one of the things that I really like to talk about. A lot of people feel intimidated. There's the authenticity police, what I like to call it. You don't have the exact kind of cheese. You don't have Oaxaca. You don't have a Cotejo cheese. Well, you know what? If it's a close approximation, it's just perfect. A lot of foods that we see in Mexico, that we see in the Philippines, that we see in South America, they were adapted from other countries.
Absolutely.
They used local products, local fresh products, the exact sort of thing you're going to see in this farmer's market, and they made it their own. So if it looks good, it tastes good, don't let anybody tell you otherwise that it's not good. and that you're not doing it right.
And that's from our friends at Sylvan Star.
That's Sylvan Star.
Yeah.
So the last guy we have here, Sunworks. These guys are fantastic. All organic, free range. Again, if you ever have any questions, you can talk to the staff. These guys actually know what they're talking about. A lot of their staff, in fact, shop at where I'm at. These people, they're not just, well, it's not just another job for a lot of these people. The people working here, they're interested in local produce. It's important to them as well. Yeah. And it makes a huge difference.
And you should know, Chef, you're a vendor in the market, so
I
you
am.
speak from that end of it as well.
Absolutely.
Not as a professional chef, but as a vendor, a local business, an entrepreneur. That's the beauty about this.
Absolutely. So me, yeah, I'm a vendor here. I sell my products. Restaurants come here to purchase products for their restaurants. I sell to restaurants. I purchase products here for my products. Lacombe Fresh Dips. I buy chilies from them. I buy stuff from people all the time here, and it goes into the products. It's the freshest. You can make it affordable, and you know you're going to get a great product every time.
And then the last but not least, the broth.
Yeah, the broth. So bouillon cubes be gone. I mean, a lot of people, when they talk about making their own stock, it's a lot of work. They feel you got to get the big stock pot. It's an 8-hour ordeal. You get this in a beautifully affordable just package right here. You defrost it, takes you 2 minutes, and you have you just have a really
See,
healthy.
that's vegetarian,
Yeah.
beef, and chicken broth.
That's right. Yeah,
So,
there's a whole host of broths,
Yeah.
and they're really fantastic.
Wishbone Wellness, right?
That's right. Wishbone Wellness, easy way just to take up
Yeah.
your cooking game
Yeah.
without having to do
They're
a lot.
new to the market, and they've been doing gangbusters because I take it home now,
Mhm.
right? Even when you're feeling not so good on a rainy day or feeling a little COVID-y,
Yeah.
that'll cure you.
Well, so many products. Oh, absolutely. But so many products will have a broth. You know, you use it as a thickener.
Yeah.
You use it. You use it just in
Sauces
soups,
and things.
sauces, you
Yeah.
name it. And even one of our salsas. Traditionally, a lot of our salsas will have a broth in there.
Oh, really?
And yeah, this is going to be going in one of them.
I'm looking forward to all of this. Like,
Yeah.
I love Mexican food.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the other end of it, I love tequila and mezcal. So this is just going to tie in perfectly to our Saturday here at the market.
Perfect. Yeah, that's right. And it wouldn't be a real cooking experience without a little bit of drinks in the kitchen. And
I'm not sure if Tracy started or she's just testing or just getting prepped.
Well, as long as she leaves us a little bit, I guess that's good enough.
Okay, perfect.
Perfect.
So, Chef, you've got a lot of work to do here, a lot of prepping, and I think we've chatted earlier about some unique ways of things that I thought how to make a salsa, and you're going, no, no, no. I'm going to teach you a new way to make a salsa.
That's right. Ultimately, there's no right or wrong, but what we're going to do is we're going to start with a traditional. We're gonna
Traditional.
give you a base, and the best part about that is you can take that and grab whatever's fresh in the market, and you get to make it yours, and you get a fresh, easy to make salsa
I'm
every time.
so excited. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to step back a little bit, and Tracy and I are going to go mess around with that big cocktail thing we're going to do later.
Perfect.
I'm going to let you create, right? And then I'll come back in a bit and ask you a couple more questions and see how things are going.
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay, perfect. I'll let you be.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot.
You bet.
So the first vegetables we're going to start with will involve our quick pickle. So you notice the board, it's on a green board. They're all color coordinated, and it's very important not to mix your fresh vegetables or your produce with your raw meat. We don't want to cross-contaminate. So we're going to start with the vegetables that we're going to use for a quick pickle. These are really easy to do, and it's only going to take a couple of moments. We're going to start with a red onion. A pickled red onion adds a lot of tart, crisp flavor, and it's great for every pickle. So we're going to start. We're going to give it a nice little chop. There we go. We're going to cut off the root section. We're going to cut off the other section. We're going to get rid of the skin. We're just going to give this a quick little peel. There's no need to fuss about that top layer. Just get rid of it. A lot of times you'll find there's little extra parts that aren't good. It's not worth your time to try to save it. So here we go. So we're going to start with our onion, and we're going to do really, really fine slices. So really fine. There we go. And we're just going to keep it like this. No need to be super fancy. Don't worry about the actual thickness. It's up to you. The thicker the vegetable, the more tart and the more vinegary it's going to feel. There. So we're just going to finish this guy off right here. Away she goes. We're going to give it a quick cut right here. Quick chop. We want to have a lot of mass in here. We're just going to grab a little jar, make sure it's clean ahead of time. You're not going to want anything dirty in there. A quick pickle will usually last for a couple days, possibly up to a week, depending on what you do. In it goes. Now we're also going to add a little bit of jalapeno, just for a little bit of heat and flavor. What you choose to add is really up to you. So we're going to give this just a quick cut, only in half. If you choose to keep the seeds, it's going to be a lot hotter. But what we're going to do is we're going to core it, and we're going to remove it as well. A lot of the heat comes from the little filaments on the inside. And we're done. And it goes, just that simple. Now, also what we're going to do, a quick pickle, it's going to have a little bit of sugar, and it goes. That's going to take away some of the tartness. We're going to add a bunch of salt. And it goes, done. Now, we're going to do a 50-50 vinegar water mix. So in goes our vinegar. Here we're going to have our hot water. What the hot water is going to do, it's going to blanch everything, and that's going to allow the pickle to work that much quicker. Done. We're adding our hot water. There we go. The vegetables are covered. Normally we'd want to fill it up a little bit more. So what we're going to do is we're just going to add a little bit more onion. So there's nothing wrong with giving it a little bit of extra if your jar isn't quite full. There we go. And she goes. Give her a cut, and we're done. And it goes here. We have a few more vegetables. Just going to add a little bit more vinegar. We're going to do the same thing. Now, a lot of people like to add garlic in their pickles. So there's something very important safety-wise we all need to know about. And that there is, well, you know what? We have a little bit of extra vinegar. That actually is perfect. So garlic, when it's in an anaerobic environment, botulism can form occasionally. So how do we get rid of that? If garlic is cooked, you can't get botulism. If it's an acidic environment, you can't get botulism. So vinegar generally has a pH of 2 to 3. So that puts your garlic in the safe space. Garlic or botulism cannot form if the pH is below 4.6. That's very important to notice, because if your vinegar is 2 to 3 pH and you're doing a 50% water, 50% vinegar mix, your pH can be slightly higher than what's safe. So now we're going to deal with our pork belly. So you're going to notice there's a little blue on here, but don't be worried. This is because the meat was inspected. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of coarse salt on here. Now, the reason we're going to use a coarse salt instead of a fine is because what that's going to do is that's going to draw a lot of moisture out of the meat. And that's something we want, just to get that crispy outside edge. Generally in Latin America, you're going to find the pork bellies with the skin on. If you happen to get a skin on pork belly, make sure you cook it low and slow, because if you broil it with the skin on, it can get really tough and really crunchy and really hard. Now, we're just going to use a smoked sea salt because we're fancy. And if you're wondering why we're putting on so much, like I said, it is to draw the moisture out. And then once it's done cooking, you can all scrape some of it off. So here we go. We have it all on there. We're going to give it just a little bit of a rub to get it on there. Add a little bit more, because why not? And then onto the tray it goes. So this is something important that I'd like to show you guys. So anytime you're cooking a pork belly, make sure you have some sort of a drip tray. There's going to be a lot of fat that's coming off, and you don't want to be boiling your pork in fat. Maybe you do, but not in this case. So we have a drip tray, and we have an actual tray. And there's something else that we're going to do that you don't often find in a professional kitchen, is we're going to add a heat thermometer. A lot of times when people cook pork, they tend to overcook it. All you need to do is cook it to 165 internal temperature, but because this is a little fattier and we're going to want it just cooked a little bit more, we're going to do it to an internal temperature of 190. We're not going to want to overcook it, because the more we cook it, the harder it's going to get. So we're just going to take this guy here, We're just going to throw it in here. We're just going to put it inside the meat. Now we're going to let this guy sit for about 15-20 minutes, let the salt soak in, and then we're going to throw it in the oven. Perfect. So this has been sitting for the 20 minutes, and now we're going to throw it in the oven. So the oven now is set for 450. We're going to do that for half an hour. After that, we're going to bring the temperature down. We're going to bring it down to about 290, 300 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're going to let it cook. It's just like a barbecue. Don't worry about the time. When it's done, it's done. Once it hits that internal temperature of 190, you know you're going to have a soft pork that's safe to eat and it's not overcooked. So now we're going to talk about a couple of the salsas that we're going to make and the vegetables that are going to go in them. So the first one here is something that might be a little mystery for some people, and this here is a dried chili that you're going to find in a lot of Latin stores. This here is a guajillo chili. Now when a chili is dried, it actually gets a different name from its fresh version. A fresh poblano all of a sudden becomes an ancho. And a mirasol chili, mira meaning look, and sol meaning sun, look up, becomes a guajillo. These guys are a staple in all Mexican cuisine. And when you're going to the store, you're going to want to find a fresh one. A fresh chili will be a little bit pliable, and you're not going to want something like this. So here we have a pasilla chili, and this here is a little too dry. If you roast this, you're going to have a few problems. It's going to get burnt. And I'm not saying you can't use this. These guys are great if you put them in a spice grinder, grind them up. You can use them as a spice, but definitely don't want to be throwing these guys on the grill. So when we're grilling these guys, the barbecue is great. You can throw them in the oven, throw them on the flat top, whatever you want to do, it's up to you. Now we're also going to grab these guys here. These are going to form part of our salsa roja. We've got ourselves some tomato, some fresh jalapeno. We're going to throw some garlic on there, and we're even going to grab a little bit of onion. We're not going to cook them all the way through. We're going to scorch them, and that's how we're going to get started. So when you're preparing the guajillo and you're going to throw it on the grill, don't forget, break off the stem. You're not going to want to cook that guy. When it comes to the tomato, don't forget to core it. How you actually choose to cut it is up to you. You can throw it whole after you core it, or you can cut it in half and remove the core after that. This is just perfect. Now that we've removed the stem and they've been scorched, we're just going to put some boiling hot water in there, and we're going to soak our peppers. You want to soak them for about 20 minutes, and then when they're soft, we're going to throw those guys in the blender, and that's going to be the special or the very distinct flavor that we have for our guajillos and our salsa. So now we're going to make the red chili sauce for our chilaquiles. We're going to start with the guajillos, which were nicely soaked, and they're going to go in there. Make sure you keep the water, because if it gets a little too thick, we're always going to add a little bit more just to thin it out. Now the second one, we're going to add these tomatoes that we roasted. You notice that they're not necessarily cooked all the way through. They have a nice scorch from the broil. So we had about 7 or 8 guajillos, and we had approximately about a pound of tomatoes. Now we're not directly adding any soup or any salt at this point. We're going to get our saltiness from the stock. So we're pouring a little bit of salt in here, or stock in here. And again, if we find it's not salty enough, then we can always add a little bit. And who can forget garlic? You'll probably notice that when we cook them or when we scorch them, we had the skin on. This avoids a lot of the bitterness. And here we go. Now we're just gonna put this guy on, make sure it's safely done, turn it on, and blend. So you notice with this guy here, while we did blend it, I did leave everything a little bit coarse. It gives it more of a natural feel. I'm going to open it up, and you'll notice it is a little soupy as well. And that's actually something we're going to want for the chilaquiles. If we're going to turn this salsa into a salsa for dipping, for nachos, for tacos, anything like that, I'm just going to put it on the stove, and then you can cook it down a little bit more after that. And remember, if you happen to have grilled onions, if you happen to have anything else, other peppers, feel free to add them. Now there's also one final ingredient that I'd like to add, and I'm just going to step over here, and I'm going to grab this guy here, epazote. This is something you're going to find in a lot of Mexican cooking. It has a unique flavor and feel to it, and it's definitely going to give our salsa a very authentic kind of feel. So again, once that's cooked, or once that was blended, we're just going to give that an extra little taste. Definitely salty enough. And this time we're going to only give it a very quick little blend. Now a lot of times people will just coarsely chop it and put it in there. I prefer a little bit of a blend. It allows the flavors to meld a little bit more. And we're done. Now we're going to head back up over to the stove and just cook that down a bit. So when making chilaquiles, we're going to take these tortilla chips and we're going to put them in the pan, and our salsa is going to go in there. It'll still be a little soupy, and it's all going to get absorbed into those tortilla chips. Now we're still waiting for that to cook down a little bit, so we're just going to move on to the next step, and that's going to be cooking up our chorizo and our eggs. Traditionally, chilaquiles was made with either one or the other, and we're going to do both versions here. Now that we moved our tortilla chips out of the way, we can focus on our meat products. So we're going to start with the chorizo. These guys here, we're going to de-skin them first before we put them on the barbecue, on the grill. Something that's really easy to do. A lot of people like to squeeze them out the side, but if you just give them a quick cut from the inside, you can remove the skin that way. Put it down, and that way there's no wastage and very little mess. And there we go.
Wow. I know Chef has been talking to everyone about how easy these meals are to prepare. But Tracy, from you and I just watching them,
Oh,
we're tired.
We're exhausted.
We're excited.
Just watching you,
Yeah.
John.
But thanks, guys.
Yeah, but we got all the cocktail stuff, so that's ready to go.
Perfect.
But first, I sensed it was testing time, which also means it's tongue time.
That's right.
So is there anything left that we can help you with?
You can guys help me with plating this. So this is comfort food. It's not meant to be fancy. It's meant to be good. People know it as a breakfast. You can have it for lunch, dinner, supper, that 2 a.m. little meal after you've come home from a few drinks. So why don't we just get started?
A few tequila
Okay,
parties.
let's go.
That's right. So now what we have is our tortillas. They've absorbed quite a bit here. If it gets a little mushy, that's okay. You know.
I love them that way, though. I'm one of those guys. I like it. You know,
Yeah,
almost
like
like
the
a
tortillas
pasta.
mushy?
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
There you go.
I like mine more al dente.
Ah, you've learned a new word.
That's, yeah. I've been working on it.
Ah.
Chef John's been teaching me some Spanish words.
Al dente, that's right.
I think I'm getting better at it. You know what? Probably after a few cocktails, I'll be much better at it.
Later.
So we're just going to give it a little bit of onion for crunch.
That
There
looks
we go.
so good.
Oh, thanks. Then we're just going to give it a little bit of cheese. Just make it fancy. Oops, that's a lot of cheese. That's okay.
See, you did
But you
make
like
it
a
look
lot
fancy.
of cheese, so you make
Right.
this the way you want it, right?
right.
That's right.
It's all about what makes you happy.
Yeah.
We have a little bit of epazote.
Chef, and you told me earlier that if you had a little bit of extra of the salsa, you could put some of that on top of that if you wanted.
Absolutely. So basically how this is made, I mean, you cook the salsa in the tortilla chips.
Yeah.
And we bought some tortilla chips today. But traditionally how it was made is when people had tortillas and they were getting a little old, getting a little crunchy, that's when people would take it, they would cut it, they would deep fry it. You can bake it. It's not the traditional way, but it certainly is healthy and
Yeah.
happy. And even if you have some pre-made nachos, pre-made salsas, don't get caught up on making a full meal. It's just putting it all together,
Yeah.
using what you have, and enjoying it like that.
My Chinese friends do fried rice. That's what they do with old rice too, right? Everybody has a thing that you do
Yeah.
with old something,
That's right.
right?
It's
Bread pudding.
right.
Yeah, I'm not
Ah.
a fan of leftovers. Just ask my husband about it.
That's why we
But
disguise
when
it
you
as
can
A
disguise
different
it,
meal.
right?
yeah.
Right?
That's why we disguise it as a new meal.
Give it a
That's
new
it,
That's the
life.
whole point.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Perfect.
It looks so good.
Oh, thanks.
So when's the tasting coming in?
Right now.
So we'll kind of put this aside and then we'll get ready to plate up the second one. So chef, we're on to the second dish now, right?
That's right. So what we have here is our roasted pork belly. We're calling it the chicharrones. So a lot of people, when they see or hear chicharrones, what they think of is just deep fried pork skin. But in Latin America, it could be the belly that's deep fried. It can be the skin, and it's very regional. It's not only regional, it's very household specific. So with this guy here, what we've actually done is we've baked it. I know a lot of people don't want to deep fry at home, and we've just chosen it to do a little bit different way to make it more accessible and maybe a little bit healthier too. We've rendered a lot of fat, but we still kept a lot of that fatty, yummy goodness on
The
there.
flavor.
Yeah,
That's
the
right.
Flavor town.
And would you
right?
recommend? Would you recommend air baking it too? They've got those air fryers now.
I haven't ever used an air fryer. I'm still pretty old school, but if it works for you, it works. And I think that's what's most important. You use what you have just to make a meal, and don't make excuses with the food isn't quite authentic enough. You know, the ingredients aren't quite authentic. I don't have the proper equipment. You can work with what you have, and you can always make a great meal with it.
Perfect. So let's get you
Yeah.
going here.
Let's do a little bit of chopping.
That
So-
smells amazing.
Yeah, this guy's been in there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So we crispied up the skin, and now we're just going to cut it like this. And then we're just going to break it up into tiny little pieces. You can see still how juicy it all is.
Oh wow.
So we haven't dried it out at all.
Mm.
Like we mentioned earlier, you just go to 190, which is all this needs, and that gives it the perfect amount of doneness and the perfect amount of softness. So we're just going to chop these guys in little pieces.
You
And
can
what's
hear the crispiness.
Yeah.
where you're
Oh,
cutting,
yeah.
right?
yeah, a little bit of a crunch.
Cracklings.
Mhm. Yummy.
That looks amazing. That meat looks so tender.
Yeah. If it weren't for the skin, you could just pull this all apart. Or it weren't for the top part, which is all crunchy, you could just
Yeah.
pull this apart by hand.
Oh, like a pulled pork.
Well, you know, if I was at home, we'd be pulling it all apart with our hands.
Yeah, that's right.
We'd be diving in hands first right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we're going to make our little taquitos here, and we're going to do something that perhaps is again a little controversial. So what we have is flour tortillas. A lot of people say corn is the way to go, and a lot of places it is. But if you go to a state like Michoacan, they will definitely have a flour tortilla, and we're making little mini versions.
Yum.
And we're just going to plate these guys for a nice little evening snack. So we'll put in a little bit of meat right there. Going to give it a little, give it a little squeeze. Then we're going to take a little bit of our pickle. So we have a little bit of our pickle onion. Give it a little bit of
Yum.
that tartness.
Oh, that looks so good.
Now a little bit of cilantro is going on top of there. And why not a radish or two? You find that all the time. And there we go. You take a bite, you dip it in there, you take another bite. And that's your first guy right there. Just
He's
pop
gonna
that
fall
open.
over.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
you said, that's the perfect snack size.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of times when we're having those cocktails, we're out with friends, when we're sitting on the patio, I don't think anybody just wants to eat themselves into a coma. And,
Oh yeah.
Or maybe
Well,
they do, I don't
You
know.
haven't talked to Keith then.
That's right.
7 or 8 of these, and I'm just
Yeah.
fine. Okay,
Yeah.
that's my limit.
Yeah, we stop at 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they provide a nice little snack. There we go.
Or a
Little bit
full
more
meal
pickled
if you're
onions.
like Keith and you want to eat 7 or
Right,
8
you
of
know,
them.
But these are great when you have friends over, cocktail
Yeah.
party, that type of thing, right? They're,
Absolutely.
you know, if you get started on the pork belly ahead of time,
Mhm.
the rest of it you can put together anytime, right?
There you go.
It's
Absolutely.
Not, it's not a huge thing to do, as you keep telling us.
That's right.
Or I can call you.
I just have tons of them in my fridge, I swear to God.
Just ready to
We'll
go.
just put your
Just ready
name,
to
your
go.
phone number up so everybody can call you.
Yeah,
Right.
I already Google mapped his
Yeah.
house, so we're good. We're good.
Perfect.
And here we go.
That's awesome.
3 little guys. And you know what? We're just going to have another one of our pickles. So this is our little improvised ceviche. Got a little bit of pickled radish, a little bit of pickled onion on the side,
As a garnish.
a couple peppercorns. It's a garnish. And you know what? If you want to throw it on there as well, feel free to do it.
It doesn't hurt.
That's right.
All the flavors.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Great
And
for
people
a
actually
summer's
can track the chef down if they want to at the farmer's market, which is really nice.
Yeah, right here at Old Strathcona.
You can't hide.
You can't get away from us.
Chef, we've got one more dish to make.
That's right. So I don't know if everything we were making today was comfort food or hangover food, but at the end of the day, we had a great time at the market. We chose a lot of cheap, easy to use ingredients.
That's
We
right.
took those ingredients and we've
Yeah.
used them over and over again. This is how you make a great budget. I know you don't like leftovers. I know my kids don't like leftovers.
Yeah.
I don't like leftovers. We're remaking everything we've made, and this is the final one. So
It's
this
amazing.
is thanks. So this is going to be our Mexican style torta. A torta is just a sub, and we're just going to use some Mexican-based elements to put it in the sandwich, and we're not going to worry about being too fancy. So
The elegance and grace.
Although I
Anything
do like
is-
fancy, so
Yeah.
a
That's
little's
right.
okay.
we know
A
you're
little's
fancy,
okay.
Yeah.
but these are still great. So the first thing we're going to do, we're taking some cheese that we mixed with our leftover chorizo. We're just dumping it in there. Then on top of that, we're getting our pork belly. We're putting that guy on there as well.
And I love the hit of spice that's in there too. It's just a perfect amount.
Oh, thanks. So we're going to grab a egg, of a runny style egg. On it goes as well. That's our leftover egg.
It's
And we're
almost
going to
like a breakfast sandwich.
It's like a breakfast sandwich. It's a 2 a.m. sandwich.
2 a.m. sandwich. It's a noon
A
sandwich.
spicy breakfast
right.
sandwich.
There you go, a little
Well,
bit of
hangover
that.
food can be comforting, so
That's
you
right.
can combine the two.
And then we're going to have a little bit of garnish as well on top of there. This time we're just using our cilantro. And there we go.
That's amazing.
And we're done.
It smells so good.
I think it looks good. I'm going to fight you for that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
You ready? I'm in. And now the moment that I've been waiting for, and I think you're going to like this too. I've never had a michelada cocktail before, so I'm very excited to try this. Putting out the ingredients, you won't see a lot of the typical cocktail ingredients. Some very interesting things that you've got set up for us here, John. So you have to tell us how you came up with this idea.
Right, so the michelada, it's a pretty common cocktail you're going to find all over Mexico. There's a lot of different variations that you can find. The one we're going to do today, this is our version of it. It pairs great with everything we've made so far. It's the kind of cocktail that you'd have in the back of a restaurant if you're working. It's the kind of cocktail you'd have when you're watching a soccer or a baseball game. And let's just get started with the ingredients then.
Yeah, because some of these ingredients I have in the back of my fridge that I don't use very often. So coming up with the cocktail idea,
So
are
that's
you
a-
literally just pulling that stuff out?
It's a great idea to empty out your fridge. That's all I can say.
Okay. I won't say how long they've been there. These aren't them though. These ones are much newer. Okay, so what are we going to start with?
So we're going to start with rimming the glass. So usually when somebody rims a glass, you're going to have some sort of a salt. It'll be some flavoring and salt with the salt with a 5-to-1 ratio. with the tajin. We're going to have it salty enough that we don't have to do anything else. Then we're going to take our lime and we're just going to run it along the rim of the glass. It just goes like this. This here adds a little bit of moisture, so that way everything's going to stick. So we just give it a nice little turn, and there you go.
Yeah, and the tajin has a little bit of a lime flavor to it, and then you're also adding fresh lime, so you get that extra tang in it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're going to find lime in a lot of Mexican foods, and it's a great, yeah, it's absolutely great. So the first one we're going to add is we're just going to have a couple dashes of Maggi seasoning.
Okay.
So anybody who's been in the Caribbean or Central America, Latin America, even all over Africa, it's one of those ubiquitous flavors and flavorings. And the second one we're going to add, it's going to be a couple dashes of Worcestershire sauce. Is that pronounced right?
Yep, you said that one right.
Okay, a few.
That might be a little bit more than a couple dashes, but
That's okay.
I like flavor.
You're definitely going to have flavor.
Okay, good.
Now we're going to have a quarter ounce of our agave syrup.
This is nice. And agave syrup comes from cactuses.
Absolutely.
So you say when?
That's perfect.
Okay.
That's good.
Like
Perfect.
that. So this will add some sweetness
Perfect.
to our
That's exactly what we're
michelada?
going to do here.
Okay.
And our next ingredient will be half an ounce of mezcal.
Ooh, nice.
So
okay.
I'll let you do that
All
one
right.
as well.
Are you going to let me pour this?
Yeah, sure.
Here we go.
Perfect.
Say when.
Oh, when?
Oh, that's going to be mine, I guess.
Yeah, that's going to be strong. Good.
We'll
That's
give that one to Keith.
Perfect. Perfect. This is turning to more of a mezcal cocktail.
I think so.
There's going to be room
Especially
for the beer.
that one. That's going to be a good one.
Now we're going to put in the beer. So this is Blind Man Brewing beer. These guys make a fantastic brew.
Okay. And then to the top now?
Yeah, we're pretty close.
Pretty close. All right. Can
Perfect.
you see that?
Yeah.
You remember that's the strong one. Oh, that looks so good. And what an interesting combination of flavors for a cocktail.
Yeah, and the last thing we're going to do, we're going to add a little touch of hot sauce. So this isn't normally the kind of hot sauce you would find in one of these guys, but we figured why not. So this comes from Chef Mon, and it's a little Scotch bonnet sauce.
Oh,
So we're going to
wow.
add more than a little bit of heat here. Well, if it comes
Yeah,
out.
it's being shy, but I have a feeling it's all of a sudden going to just shoot right out. Just
Well, that's really...
That's definitely Keith's. That's going to be a spicy one. He says he likes
Well,
spice, so...
You know, why don't we just do this? This is... there's definitely a lot of body in this
That's
one here.
It reminds me of the old ketchup bottles when you used to hit them and nothing would come out, and then the
Yeah.
whole thing would blow up.
Yeah, then you have a ketchup burger.
That's right.
There
True
we go.
story. This actually happened at a restaurant one time. My brother was hitting it and nothing
Uh-huh.
was coming out, and then he hit it again, and there was a silhouette of my dad's face on the wall with ketchup on his face. Anyway,
He must have
yeah.
been ecstatic.
Oh no, he was not very happy.
Perfect, and there we go.
Okay,
That's it.
wonderful. So save that one for Keith. Even I can take these two here,
Sure.
and there we go.
Oh, and you know what?
Nice. Oh yeah,
Dash
you
of
got
lamb.
it.
Dash of lime.
Perfect. That looks
And cheers.
amazing. Michelada.
Michelada.
Michelada. Michelada.
This is a Mayan michelada.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Mm. So, how's your cocktail, Keith?
You know, I love you guys. I love you.
Well, we made it specially for you.
It's terrific. It's very refreshing. And yeah, on a hot day or on a cold day.
Yeah.
I think on any day.
It's sweeter than I thought it would be, but in a good way. Like, I
Yeah.
really like the flavor combination.
The mixture of the mezcal and the beer will make that sweet. I've invented one of my own drinks in the past, so I kind of know that. So.
You know that
Organic
from experience.
environment,
But also the agave and then the lime.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
all so
No,
good.
it's all good. I love the spices, the tagine. I'm getting me some of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. What a great combination.
Oh, thanks.
Cheers.
Chef, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here. I mean, I've known you in the market, but this is a different side of you. You're good in front of the camera.
Oh, thanks.
And this is
You
some
are.
awesome food, very flavorful. And I think that's one of the things people don't understand about Mexican food. It is home cooking. It is not very high end. It's
That's right.
rustic. It's what you get in the farm, in the garden, outside. It's all of that, right? So
That's right. We're not talking about Michelin star food. I mean,
No.
there's no well, I mean, I guess there is a formal
there
cooking
is.
school, But I mean, that's not really what it's about.
No.
We want everything to be accessible, kind of like this market. I mean, you have your local ingredients, you have people coming together, you're making something. And this is really what this food is about, kind of like this drink. It's people getting together, enjoying a meal, having a conversation.
So every Saturday, you got to start my day with one of these, right? I don't know how that'll go over, but I'm
He's
throwing
going
it
to
out
be
there.
expecting that now, yeah?
I have another booth, you know.
Have another booth,
That's
yeah.
right.
You'll never see me on the floor again.
Where
Little
did
mini
the
bar.
Stell bottle go?
Yeah.
We'll just put that right in your office.
Thank you again. Cheers. And Tracy,
Yeah.
Guys.
again, well
Thank
done.
you. Thank you,
guys.
Keith, for having me
Thanks.
on again.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chef John, for this
Thank you.
amazing food you prepared. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you at the market.